All right, family. We're going to bring on our next MC. Hi, Debbie.
Hey, Ash, how you doing?
I'm great.
Great. That's wonderful. Well, I love Mark so much. He's been on my show several times, real deal. And I love his passion for us, really, for
Yeah.
translating the information to us. For those of you who are interested, he's also done a lot of extraordinary work around the UFO world, because many of us here are into the galactic, myself included. So, yeah, check out his work there too. And then I'm also an OG, so I guess it's a badge of honor. I've been doing podcasting and radio for 17 years. Listen, I love you too, Mark, and thank you for your beautiful presentation. I'm going to shift now because I know we've got somebody who's been waiting in the wings, and I want to make sure we're sticking ish to the schedule. We're always an ish here, right? When we're Portal to Ascension, and I like it because it teaches me flow. It teaches me flow karuna, and it teaches me to flow. And I'm all about it. I just want to say, in transitioning here to this next piece that I'm going to be introducing, I went last night to the Billy Joel concert. So blessed. My friend is friends with the drummer, Billy Joel's drummer. So we got 8th row seats. It was way beyond my expectations, unbelievably spiritual and magical. And one of the beautiful things about it is that I was standing where the Clippers play, the basketball team, looking up at the entire stadium, massive amounts of people. And I was thinking about us. And I had that moment where I was looking up and thought, wow, what if just in this moment I send kindness and love and awareness and consciousness and compassion to everybody here? So much care, and there's been an evolution now about how I view things like that. So I share that with you because wherever you're driving today, going to spend time with people, whatever it is, go shopping, What if you took a moment and sent that kind of awareness and compassion and consciousness to every soul being in that space?
Oh, I love that, Debbie. I love that. Like, you're it. You're all of it. You're the entire structure you enter into.
Yeah. And we are the everything that we put out. And I know the timeline I want to live on. I know the kind of world, the kind of earth, the beautiful earth and the beautiful humanity. And I believe in it. So it starts with me. It starts with us.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the next guest. It's such an honor when I get to introduce a friend of mine. That's the most meaningful. So I'm grateful, Neil. Thank you for putting me in this position that I get to hang with my friends a bit on this beautiful Happy Birthday to Portal Ascension 11-day awakening festival. Yeah. So Rob Gauthier, get ready, people, because he is next. And he's one of the most respected trance channelers in the world. Maybe he's a bit of an OG, but not as OG like as Lisa Royal. But I will say that Rob's been around doing this for more than a decade. Now, he does hundreds of beings that get channeled through him, but very specifically, it's often 3. There's Treb, there's Aradif, who I've met many times, who's an ancient Pleiadian, and there's Metatron. And they are beings that come through this amazing channel named Rob Gauthier. And globally, people know them, know him. He is a professional channel for Pleiadian, ET, archangel consciousness, and thousands of ET races. By the way, he now runs his own channel panel events like the one coming up in January in Sedona. So you can go to his website for more, ET Whisperer. And he also has his own podcast, Rob Gauthier, the ET Whisperer. Rob is my galactic brother from another mother. So everybody give a lot of love through your screens, through your phones, through your YouTube and replay, however you're tuning in, and just send lots of love and gratitude for the gifts he's about to give us. I welcome Rob Gauthier to Awakening Portal to Ascension. Great to have you.
Oh, hello, Debbie. It's always amazing to be here with you, and I'm always excited to connect with you. And what a beautiful introduction. I appreciate it. Thank you.
From my heart, brother, always. And I can't wait also to hear what you're going to share today. Are you going to be channeling?
I'm gonna channel a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna channel Metatron today. I haven't been channeling Metatron a lot in the last couple years, but his energy always helps push forward my own progression in life. And I'm at that
Mm,
stage now where we've done all the work to get us ready for the next step. So I've been pushing more Metatron energy out lately, and it's really exciting for me. A little scary sometimes because of how powerful that energy is to push my life forward.
mm,
But it's a very personal desire for me. So I've been really connecting to Metatron's energy a lot. And
mm.
uh, everybody loves Ardif and Treb too, whoever connects with them. But Metatron's energy is just, it's a little different. So it's always nice to explore that.
I thank you because I'm also in a massive, very, very positive transition. Uh, and I could use some help too, because I'm just doing my best energetically to keep up and say yes and receive. But there's a lot of massive expansion. I know many people are experiencing change, some people, things falling away. I have a feeling you're doing exactly the right thing at the right time for all of us.
That's what I'm hoping. At least I'm trying to do that for me and my family, and in hopes. I always there's always a thing of me where, as much as I want to help people, I also recognize that the channeling works differently with everyone. So when I channel an energy for someone, it might help them stimulate some mental energy and help them understand things logically and mentally. Other people, it might help open up the emotional energy inside of them if they're stuck trying to feel a love for family, friends, or themselves, or whatever. And sometimes it's just an energetic translation. So the energy of the channeling itself is encoded. And most people who know about channeling understand that there's more than just the words that the beings are speaking. It's the energy behind those words, and a lot of time that encoding is needed for a lot of people. That's why light language has been such a big thing in the last few years. And you are right, I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing it since 2010, publicly and professionally since 2013. So I've been sharing my channeling for a long time, and one thing I've noticed is that everyone receives it differently. I kind of joke with my wife, who's also a channeler. Her name's Kalina Angel. She's amazing, and when me and her talk about this, it's funny because I'll channel this really profound thing and put it out in the world, and then someone will be like, "Oh wow, you know." This confirms everything for me. And then they go and share something. And I'm like, I didn't hear any of that in that channeling. I heard nothing about that. And then someone else will say something completely different. So it really is a
Mm,
as needed thing for each person. And I really enjoy being able to kind of share that, because that's my own passion and excitement, being able to
mm.
channel for other people.
And following your passion and excitement is so important.
Mm.
I'm really glad you follow yours. Thanks for bringing up Kalina's name. I hope she's doing great. Your amazing wife. Our love to your beautiful son and daughter,
Thank
and
you.
our love to you. And I'm going to let you take it away. Thanks for being here so much, Rob.
Oh, thank you so much, Debbie. I love you and I appreciate you, and thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Rob Gauthier, the ET Whisperer. I've been channeling for a long time, since 2010. It was a journey. It wasn't something I intended to do, and it also wasn't an accident. It was a journey, and that journey was through a lot of different things. Part of it was being a young father, and before that, being in a deeply Christian family, and after that, but before my son, I hung out with a tough crowd of people who did bad things, got into a lot of trouble when I was younger. Violence was kind of a lifestyle then. So I went from this place where I was lashing out at the world, to a place of having my son. And that taught me real love, unconditional love, as close as humans can come to unconditional love. It taught me to love someone more than myself. And that was something I never experienced before that. He was born with cerebral palsy. And we didn't understand the implications of how much that would affect us until we got to that point, which was about 2 years old, a little less. And then we found out, hey, he's not going to walk, he's not going to talk, he's not going to be able to communicate, he'll be in a wheelchair, on and on and on. And that really affected me and put me into a deep depression. I got into a car accident, and I was given prescription medication. And then that became a drug addiction of opiates for almost, 7, 8, 9 years. I fought with that badly. It was the only thing that took away that pain that I felt about almost a feeling of losing my son, even though my son was still there. All the hopes and dreams that I had for him when his mother, was pregnant, and all the things as he was a child, after I got to love him so much, all those things kind of got thrown to the wayside, and it was really a rough thing. Anyway, after I figured out that the drug problem was worse than the depression, that I was killing off all my relationships left and right, that the only love that remained in my life at that point was my son, I figured out I needed to stop. And through getting clean, it gave me a lot of different perspectives. It gave me a new sense of spirituality. Like, oh my God, I'm seeing things that I haven't seen since I was a kid: the beauty in the world, the beauty in people, the beauty in my relationships. Um, and I always had that Christianity thing. So I wanted to understand what God was, what creation. I never believed, although I did have an atheist type of side to me, I never really believed that this was all an accident, that Earth was here on accident. I always believed there was some kind of uh, really strong and deeply intricate design to all of this life and afterlife. And, as a kid, I anybody who grew up in the 80s, Unexplained Mysteries and those books, the time books of all the Bigfoot and UFOs and all that stuff. So that was in my life, and I wanted to know, how can I connect this with thought of souls and death and God and all of that. So I started exploring, learned meditation, did a lot of things, and eventually brought me to a place where I was on my own, learning the Gateway experience through the Monroe Institute, HemiSync. That binary beats really connected me into the energy of doing all the things. So I kind of took that onto myself and learned how to go really deep into meditation. And then in one of my times, I was really, really disconnected. I met Treb, and Treb was my first guide. I met him. And what I mean, he didn't come to my living room and say, "Hi, my name's Treb." I was in a deep astral projected meditation. These meditations took me that deep. And when I was in one, I left my body for the first time in a real deep way. And so I'm not meaning that like I was having a dream state, but my body was awake, my mind was deeply asleep, and this being presented itself in front of me. And I talked to him for a while. I thought my brain got broken. I thought maybe mental illness or the drug abuse that I had done for years had finally broken my brain. And I quit meditating. At this time, I was meditating hours and hours and hours a day. We're talking anywhere from like 5 to 8, 6 hours a day. Um, and then I went to not meditating for 3 or 4 days, and finally I said, "I've gotta go back and see what this is about." So I went back, and I went back, and for 2 years, I met with this being every day through meditation, and eventually, after seeing, I had to look at what this being was saying, so I went online, and I found the Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar. I found, Seth, who's channeled by Jane Roberts. So I was like, "This information he's sharing with me has similarities with these other works. Can we do what they do?" And I asked Treb, and he's like, "Yeah, we can do that. I can connect to you while your body is there and present through." And that's what channeling is. And we did. And then I channeled and channeled and channeled, and I met more beings and more beings. And eventually I'm at the place now where I met his guide, which was Aradif. And then after that, my channeling exploded. So I ended up at this point, probably over 1,000 different ET consciousnesses, which is why they call me the ET Whisperer. And this has led me into a lot of different understandings. So the galactic energy is where I shine. It's kind of the energy that I'm most excited about. But Metatron is an earth energy, and that's a very ancient earth energy. It's a creative energy in earth, which means it's part of the earth creation itself. So, when we think of creator consciousness, we think of ourselves as these little parts, and that's true. But Metatron is a big part of that energy. And I do want to share some of that. And I was wondering, Debbie, and I hate to put you on the spot, but is there a way that when I'm channeling, you might want to ask Metatron a few questions? Because I find the channelings always work well um, when the channeling is done and then questions are asked about that.
Wow, what an opportunity for me. I'll tell you what, I'm happy to start off. Wow, there's so much. You say that and the downloads start. Woo. So I am really happy to start. And then I think what might be very fun is if Ash is still here, for her to jump in and take some audience questions. Would that be okay?
That's perfect. Yeah. And actually, that'll be great. I think I'll channel Metatron and let him share whatever he wants to share with people to start off with. And then after that, you can ask questions. Ash can take audience questions. Anything you guys want to do, it's fine with me.
Beautiful. Thank you.
All right, guys. I also want to share, as channeling is a part of my excitement, as Debbie mentioned, the channel panel is something that we've done. That's something that's very much in my field of excitement too. And if you guys do enjoy channeling and you like channelers, we have a bunch of amazing channelers at the channel panel event. We've got Daryl Anka, Lisa Royal Holt, Wendy Kennedy, Jamie Price, Sean Swanson, Kalina, my wife, myself, Jim Charles, Daniel Scranton. We've got a bunch of channelers there. So if you want to check that out, you can always check that out,
Since you're
channelpanel.com.
talking about it, Rob, just to jump on real quick, I'm just gonna screen share for a quick second just to show
Sure.
it. Okay.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, and I'm going to be there as well, and we're kind of I'm going to be presenting there, doing a workshop, promoting it. And Rob and I go way back. I was at his other live channel panel event, and this is really truly a historic event with some amazing people there. So I'm excited for it. Go ahead, Rob. You want to say some more about it?
Yeah, it's on January 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The 4th is my birthday, which is awesome. And it's a live event, and you can buy live stream tickets. Neil's going to be both presenting there as a presenter, and he's going to share. And there's a couple different ways you guys can access that information. You can do it live stream, which is just the auditorium, and that's what people get when they get the 3-day pass. You get to go to the auditorium and watch all the channelers channel and do audience Q&A. And then we have workshops, which are breakouts that are additional past that. And some channelers are channeling for their workshops, others aren't, but they all are going to be a part of that. So if you're in Sedona area or you want to go there, it's January 3, 4, 5. But yeah, that's the channel panel. And I wanted to make sure people were aware of that because that's a huge excitement, and it's very the idea of having multiple channelers in one place at one time channeling, it's very powerful. Neil has been there for both of the live ones we've done before and a lot of the online ones too. It's just it's way more powerful than hearing a channeler channel in person or online. Just having all the people excited and their guides working, it's exciting. So thank you for sharing that too, Neil, and thank you, Debbie, for being willing to field questions and do some questions yourself and everything else too.
And just real quick, Rob, so I guess Debbie, you have to leave in about 10 minutes, right? So since we had a little discussion beforehand and we showed this, let's do 35 minutes so we can go a little bit over, okay? And I'll jump on in like 10-15 minutes and take over from Debbie.
Great.
Okay, sounds great.
Perfect.
All right, it takes me a minute to get in my state, everybody. So I'm just going to breathe a little bit, and then Metatron will come in. He'll share whatever he's going to share. And thank you again, Debbie. I appreciate it.
Always.
All right, here we go. Greetings and salutations. We are the Metatron. The consciousness of Earth is trying to find its center in this moment. Many humans have gathered within groups, friends, neighborhoods, and asked each other, what can we do to come together in a time that seems divided? You see the governments of the world scrambling and arguing with one another, trying to find what's wrong in the way that the systems are created. Many humans individually are going through many traumas and sorrows and trying to find their own center. Now, when we speak of the center, what we mean is the 0-point consciousness inside of you, the part of your own consciousness that's based in the most you of you. And this is being the most natural consciousness that you are while embedded inside of your body. Some of you will manifest this differently. Some humans have perceived that the center point of my consciousness is to be angry and to fight the world because they feel that great desire deep within. Although you can be a warrior in consciousness, although you can desire and want to fight the system, the fighting is not the aspect that's the most central. The most central is the part with least resistance. Now, what would be the least resistant in your world today, in your experience today as a human in this time? The time of finding yourself. This helps you propel to that 0 point energy inside of yourself. This helps you understand yourself in a much deeper way. When you recognize that the experiences you have where anger is ignited come from a place of your desire to see the world in a better place, of your desire to see the world in a place that resonates with you, that is helpful to other human beings, that holds the container of love equally for all people, that expresses itself in an ability for you to have personal freedom in whatever direction that your heart desires. So these energies that you're perceiving are anger from within because of the lack of alignment outside. But as most of you are already aware, this energy doesn't work that way. You can't have anger inside for what's not right on the outside and create something better outside of you. The only way that you can create something better outside of you is holding the space of what can change inside of you. And for many of you, that means doing the work inside of you that is often most difficult. That means looking at your own self internally and working for the consciousness of yourself to be yourself. And although this is difficult for many humans as conditions of other humans are placed on you, it's hard to find that center and see other people in exchanging with their own personalities and be open to you. But this is something that we also feel the need to share with you. The acceptance of others isn't important for your own divinity to shine, for your own consciousness to manifest itself into the most you of you. The most you of you does not need to resonate with others. It needs to be natural. It needs to be the consciousness of your truest self. And the formula for this has been expressed many times to Earth through many teachers: to love, to be yourself, to follow your guidance, your passion, your excitement. And oftentimes, by following a simple joy, following this leads you to many different experiences, and those experiences can take you to other excitements. And if you're willing to act on those excitements in each moment, then the door opens to a new pathway that has the probability of many more excitements. And when those excitements are shown to you, if you yourself can be yourself and actively act in that moment towards the excitement, it opens up other doors. Now, we understand many of you say there is no way for me to be happy or to be excited or to be joyous when the conditions of the world around me are burning. Those conditions have been created by the group of you as a collective consciousness. The burning of the world around you is there to teach you a lesson as a human being and as a soul in a human body. Those lessons are there to teach you that the systems we've created as humans collectively are not working and need to change. And you see the agents of change all around you. You see the world political stage where humans are equally upset between two candidates that would be presented in your North American and United States region. You see two sides of two groups, and one another are mad at the other side. There's anger between the two sides, but both sides represent a different energy. When you look at the political ideologies of most humans, it makes many humans mad. Why would they choose this perspective? Why would they choose this person? But when you look at the hearts of all of those humans, most humans desire one thing: happiness. The way to find happiness is different from one another. This is why we understand Rob himself has striven or strived to find many balances in himself, and to also share with one another that seeing the differences with each other doesn't mean you have to hate one another. It doesn't mean that the other side is your enemy. It means that both of you are different within ideology, but similar in the desire to have joy and peace around you. But because you have been grown in a different environment, because you have different experiences through your life, you find that joy and happiness in a different way. We are to say that none of those ways are wrong. None of those ways are right. Even those things that come out in a negative manifestation still are good as teachers, still are good as valuable lessons to be learned. And although we understand the temperature of the political ideology around the world is very contentious, it is still there to teach all of you a lesson. When you're able to pull back into yourself, to know inside of your heart that no matter what happens, everything will be as it needs to be, to know that when you act on your excitements, not from your anger, that you will be in the best position for your life to teach you the lessons that you need, and to find joy and happiness inside of yourself and your experience, then you'll be able to let go of some of that anger. We don't mean to say that anger doesn't serve as a great teacher. Anger is an agent of change inside of you. Anger often motivates many of you to change your own behavior. Anger often ignites your desire to start acting when before you were not acting on the things that you want to see changed or the experience internally that you want to change. So anger is helpful, but keeping anger as your natural vibration will not help you find the things that are most exciting for you and that are the most relevant and the most change-making agents of your own consciousness and experience. Thank you for hearing our message, and we will take your questions.
Thank you, Metatron. It's an honor to be with you, and I'm really appreciating and feeling your energy strongly over here.
We thank you for being in your center of excitement and being here, as this place and this experience of co-creating with others is truly in your passion.
It truly is. That is so correct. Thank you. You know, I heard everything you said, and I like so much how you positioned what we're living in and experiencing. And I know many people are having very different experiences. And I'm wondering, what is the magic of this time? What is the rainbow, if you will? Because my experience of this time is that, yes, there is chaos. Yes, there is underbelly coming up to be healed and looked at, and paradigms to be changed for all of us moving forward. And what is the magic also that is concurrently happening?
The magic is just how you stated. It is a time of change, a time of shift. Nothing can be solved without understanding there's a problem first, and all the problems must present themselves and agitate the collective accordingly in order to see results. How can you change something that you didn't realize was broken? To use the analogy of Rob's other friends, Treb and Aradif, they have said the systems are in the boat and there's a hole in the boat, and it is a slow leak that has been leaking for hundreds and thousands of years on Earth. And these systems that were created by the early versions of humans, along with other extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional help, that these systems are outdated. The systems that don't allow for personal freedom and collectivism to be united, then of course these systems are not needed. This time, the magic in this time is that this is the change time. This is the beginning of a new cycle. The end of the old cycle was perceived in your 2021 years. And we know Rob's other friends, Ardif and Trem, have talked about this also for a long time. But the dates are irrelevant. The energy is what's relevant. Time, as fluid as it is outside of your experience, it is very linear for you. So you need to understand the linear perspective of this energy. Right now, you are at the very beginning part of a large cycle that will last tens of thousands of years. And that cycle is a cycle of more connectedness, where humans need to be connected with one another in order to achieve oneness. That can't happen until the division is at its maximum, and all of those parts of the systems that are broken and divided are shown for what they are. And this is your show. This is the magic. This is the experience that now all of you can take what you need from and learn to change for yourself. The collective cannot change as an entire unit. It must be the individuals who first change, and then the collective changes.
Mhm. Yeah. And for those who do experience what you talked about, this divisiveness, this is the political person, not your political person, and they become very much in a power stance where nobody's moving, or they're upset by what they're hearing, or maybe there's a lot of sensitives here with us today who are taking on a lot of collective energy and feeling very depressed, not happy, not able to move forward. I know you gave some overviews. Can you give something really specific about some choices we can make or places we can come from so that we can start to shift into a very loving, peaceful timeline?
Yes, the very first step to take is join a community. The energy of yourself by yourself is a very hard energy to maintain when you don't have a good feeling around you. And when you're by yourself and looking at the collective in disarray, one of the very few choices that you'll have is to go within yourself and fight the energies that don't feel good. This, again, isn't helpful. Join a community that's linked by passion. Some of you have joined communities in your local neighborhoods or towns, and that's enough for you. It's enough for you to understand that there is a community of people who all want the same thing, who want to be happy, who want to have local laws be adjusted, that want the neighborhood to run correctly, that want to look out for each other as maybe you remember 20 years or 30 years before. And this experience is a good starting point. Once community is brought together, the amount of consciousness behind the new manifestations becomes higher. That means when you want to change the neighborhood, the town, the city that you live in, you have more consciousness behind. Instead of one human soul anchored to a body, you have dozens or hundreds of souls working for the same thing. That joint and shared consciousness manifestation level becomes much higher. And not only does that happen for the higher manifestation levels, but also you have a better environment to be more happy. You can see the changes that you want taking place in front of you in near instant time. After this, you would go into the collective sense by sharing what you've been able to change in your local environment with others to help give them the motivation. Keep your own eyes on others who are doing the changes that you want inside of their own towns or inside of their own homes, as to motivate you and to teach you the different possibilities of how to make those changes. We have shared many times that having a perspective is very simple, but being open to all perspectives is hard. The energy of how you perceive something is very locked in with your own internal perspective. And when you start having an expectation on how things will work out, you close the possibility of many doors to be opened and only have one door in your eyesight. Being open, holding the space of the change that you want without necessarily feeling or seeing or thinking about how it should take form or how it must take form is very important. Being open to the possibilities of how change is made and how the agents of change will come. This is important also. Lastly, the focus of your own happiness in your own personal dynamic region. Many of you are alone. Many of you have only friends and family. Make sure that you are putting the efforts and energy behind love into the relationships you have. Cultivate those relationships, because these are what will help you get through those difficult times.
Thank you so much, Metatron. And we do have some questions coming in from the audience, but I want to circle back in a few here about what you said. Division is at its maximum, so we'll get to that. But a question here we have is: do you have any awareness on regarding Earth's ancient stone formations, possibly those along natural ley lines, and any awareness around possible changing of Earth's structure?
Yes, first, the ancient stones, especially on the ley lines, were placed there in a mixture of different experiences. You have many extraterrestrial races that came to Earth to teach humans. You had others come for other reasons, and some of these reasons were positive for humans, others not so much. But throughout the co-creation with humans in early time, they place these ley lines to enhance the consciousness of the collective in humans. The energy, first initially with the races that may not have had your best intentions, placed some of those along the ley lines to enhance their own ability to communicate with one another across the entire planet, when their avatars and physical bodies were not as conscious as their own dimensional. Now, we will share with you how this works quickly, but it is a complex energy. The energy behind these higher dimensional beings who would come to your planet, they could not interact with humans in their native higher dimensional bodies. So they created avatars and placed them into the earth and placed parts of their souls into the avatars. They did this so that their physical bodies could interact with humans, and these technologies helped them with their telepathy because their consciousness was limited. When placing a consciousness the size of a gallon into a container that's the size of a pint, you will not get all of what you had. So when separating their consciousness and creating the avatars, they created many of these structures on the ley lines. After that, the other beings came to help humans and created those, and many of these are to help the ley lines with their accuracy and to strengthen the energy. Many humans are unaware of the ley lines' purpose. The ley lines' purpose are a natural electromagnetic phenomenon that occurs on all planets and structures. Even those your technology cannot read electromagnetic field, they are natural, but they also work to help create a conscious connection. This is why animals and humans can shift their behaviors. A human that lives in Australia can invent something, and within a day or two in North America, another human will have that same thought process. This is the connection of the grid system. This is the connection of the ley line. The ley lines enter the crown chakra of all humans and keep humans connected. All of one type of animal, dogs and cats, are all connected through their crown chakras into the ley line system. And then there is the unified field within the system, which connects all living beings that have consciousness on Earth. So this is what they were using them for, whether for selfish purposes or to help humans. But humans have access to the ley lines in higher levels and percentages now due to these structures.
Is there a connection between Metatron? You mentioned Metatron of Earth. Is there a connection, and is that the same as Metatron of the angelic realm?
It is one and the same. The Metatron consciousness is based within Earth. If you go to Mars, there are beings who are of the same matrix that we are, who are archangels, as humans would call them through your religious ideology, but they are creator beings. And on Earth, I am one of those energies. And even though I am not limited only to Earth, the Earth is where my energy exists and where my own consciousness manifests. And we do not manifest our desires on Earth, we manifest your desires. If you've seen humans collaborate with one another in a local place and remove a lot of tension, you'll notice that storms will build in those regions. And the natural storms are releasing of the human emotional releasing. And this is what we take our cues from in order to manifest. So as the weather would turn, the energy of the humans tell us where the weather would turn, and the consciousness of creator energy in our realm would be directed to that consciousness, the part of our own consciousness that works with weather. And we work with that through sound vibration, because all things in the physical realms are vibrations and sound.
Is Metatron yourself, are you connected to Metatron's cube? You know, probably are, but what is the connection between you and the geometry of Metatron's cube? And then also there's awareness around some people saying that Metatron's cube is actually, you know, for lack of a better way of explaining it, they say it's nefarious, whereas it seems like it could actually be the geometry of this matrix, and then they're polarizing this reality as being maybe negative. Do you have any information on that?
Yes, geometry is what creates the physicality of the universe. The sound vibration creates the physical structures, and geometry of the subatomic particles of reality are what creates the larger macro. So you have many humans who have tapped into this geometry. As Metatron, we are negative and positive. We are polarity itself. We are of all things. So when humans tap into the part of us that they see as negative, then they would say we are negative. When humans tap into the part of us that they see as positive, they would say that we are positive. The cube itself, the Metatron's cube, as humans have so lovingly called that, is a part of our collective conscious energy, but is only a symbol of the way reality is created. And the experience of how humans tap into it can be one of limitation or of expansion. It depends on how you use the energy. And the energy is native to reality altogether and has no inherent negative or positive assimilation or association with physicality. It's only the human's intention behind it as they work with that energy. This is very similar to saying a rock is good or bad. It's in the field. If you pick it up and strike another human with it, it will be negative. If you leave it lay there, it will be positive.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Do children coming on the planet now have deeper knowledge of truth?
Yes, of course. They have been brought into your reality as a physical human being in a higher dimensional energy vibration. This means that as they entered Earth, Earth is less resistant. Why do you believe chaos ensues? Because the human mind has always been chaotic. It did not manifest itself because consciousness was not as free to mold the physical reality around it. But the higher the dimensional energy of consciousness is, the more easily able your intention is able to sway the exterior and realm of your reality. This is why many humans who say the system is broken, we need a change, now they're seeing that change. The energy of the mind and intention becomes more free. Now, humans who were born 40 years ago, or 50 and 60 years ago, they were born in a time where consciousness was less free and more restricted and more uniform. Many of you who've experienced that can tell the difference from the 1980s to your present time. It was more refined and more direct. It was an associated place where you had to work through the consciousness only in one way. Now there's an infinite springing of consciousness available. And with that energy comes the freedom to manifest more quickly. The children who are born here understand that and know this. And although humans have different perspectives on younger generations, you will find them mostly to be more loving, more sensitive, more understanding in general.
You had spoke earlier about division being at its maximum. Love for you to speak more about that. And as we are seeing, yes, you spoke about politics. Everything seems to get more and more divided. That it seems like people can't see eye to eye, and also a lot of hatred to the other has come about. Can you speak about the necessity of this, and if it is necessary, and if it is really that we need to go to the ultimate state of division before we come back to unity.
Yes, now it is not required for you to go to the maximum state of separation before coming into unity, but through humans who, as you are very aware and knowledgeable, can be hard headed sometimes. So, what that means is they can see the division, feel the division, and still not change the behavior. So, the energy of division will continue to manifest until humans realize, in a general sense, singularly and also collectively, that the time is over for this, that we need to do things differently. Many humans are already at that threshold. You see the changes of behaviors, the change of mindsets, all the way through the collective at this time. But a greater collective manifestation of that comes through the systems of government, the systems of healthcare, schooling, all of the systems that humans have that have high levels of resistance and negative outcomes for humans. So these systems are being pressed to the maximum at this time with the maximum level of division. Can division be worse? Yes, of course. Civil wars, great wars could break out. Humans are working to that level of understanding that wars are not the way to work through these energies. You see protests of wars now happening all over. And yes, there are still supports of war, and there are still desires for war. But the longer those wars go on, the more that's lost by both sides participating. The more the human consciousness recognizes how deeply unneeded that war can be to settle differences or differences of perspective. And we are not able to hear.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, you said that war is not needed per se, or it's a realization. Can you let us know what the lesson is in war?
The lessons in war are the same lessons as in fighting with your neighbor, that you believe your own perspective is superior. You believe that the way that you work in life is correct and the other person is incorrect, or another person has slighted you and you feel the need for revenge. That has always been the lesson in war. Now we understand the wars themselves do manifest shifting dynamics on Earth. So they are needed for the moment of the experience. You see your world wars, you see your local wars of any of the countries that you come from, and look how it affected your history. So the manifestation of those wars were needed to change the dynamic of Earth, and especially in local regions and greater regions. But these energies are not the only way to make shifts and changes, great shifts and great changes on the planet. So this is an important aspect of that energy that you're learning now. Many humans who are going through the experience of feeling pain or taking the side of one side or another in these wars, we know especially in the Middle East that this accentuates the energy of humans. But this war that happens in the Middle East, the continuation of wars that happen in that region of the world, are also the manifestation of the deep traumas that occurred in that region of the world, and will continue to work through that energy until the traumas are healed. Most of those traumas are based in religious ideologies, religions that have fought with one another, the 12 tribes of Israel, as they have changed and shifted and created their own dynamics in that region for such a long period of time. The energy between the understanding of all of the different ideologies that are placed there, the trauma that religion as an organized aspect has brought to Earth is still trying to heal itself there. And as long as humans perceive war as the only tool of great change, then it will continue to place itself, especially in regions where trauma exists.
Wow. Now, does these wars that are taking place, let's take the Middle East, but even maybe universally and all over the planet, have they got to do with the traumas that just took place through religions and the 12 tribes and so forth? Or is this a trauma that happens somewhere else in the galaxy that we're playing out here on Earth now?
It can be both. Most of the traumas are Earth based. This is why you see them breaking out. But many souls who come to Earth are from different regions and locations of the galaxy. Many of the beings who exist on Earth are from the Orion Wars. Many of the beings were perpetrators or the violent or negative beings, as humans would perceive. They have come to Earth and now are victimized by war. They're taking that karma on as a soul. Now, karma isn't what humans believe it is. Karma isn't that you are owed a negative outcome for being negative in one life. It's more so a soul desires to find balance. I just played the role of perpetrator in my last experience. Now I want to see what being the victim feels like. As a physical being, you take this very personally. How dare a soul play with my life in that way? But as a soul, the understanding is there that the only importance is experience itself. Being on Earth and experiencing is enough for the soul. It doesn't matter if you are a good or bad or in between and neutral. The soul only wants the experience. So, as a being who exists on Earth, having your experience is enough. Many souls come with trauma and enter the Earth, and those fractals of consciousness can bring some trauma through. But most beings enter Earth with an expectation on a desire to have an experience, and their free will and the free will of others around them allow them opportunities for other experiences. Um, Karma is not something that humans should hold on to as an idea of validity or hold on to as an honorable energy. You want the opportunity as a soul to experience all things, but you don't need to punish yourself.
How does karma work in regards to, I've heard in the years I've been into this that some of the beings that are doing the negative, whether it's secret societies or nefarious agendas within politics and shadowy governments, that some of them came directly from very advanced realms, as very highly evolved beings, and not they didn't really come from maybe a life of trauma where their karma then came and created a life where they continued that trauma in this reality, but they could have actually come from these realms to play the role willingly of darkness, actually accepted that role rather than them being in the darkness and creating this disturbance now, being a product of their past incarnations.
Yes, this is very true. Many souls who understand the level of darkness that would be needed to be a bad guy often will step into that role willingly. Every human who is on Earth at this moment has stepped into their role willingly. Those who are born with handicaps step into that willingly. Those who are born in war-torn regions step into that willingly. Those who are born into poverty or richness step into those willingly. All roles are accepted before entering with the understanding that free will can experience shifts and changes in your greater desire or your soul's plan, as many humans call that. The experience of Earth itself gives you the opportunity to be in that negative or positive. Now, how karma works. Karma is that energy that manifests a word of religious ideology and keeps the stigma upon that word. There is no true karma because those lifetimes that you are connected to as past lifetimes are just as probable as the future lifetimes. Your soul, as an individual fractal, resonates at a frequency that will attract the possible future and past lives that were connected to it to come to you. Many humans who suffer through trauma in their life on Earth will bring traumatic lives to them because your oversoul has nearly infinite versions of lives that have occurred, that will occur, and that are probable to being your life. So you're choosing the life by choosing your vibration of this moment that you can draw to. Now, that doesn't mean the lives of non versions of trauma are irrelevant. If you're traumatic in this life, you still have lives where there were no trauma, but those are less likely to be in your periphery. And the experience that you have in them will be less likely to connect those to you so that they're recognizable as past lives.
Thank you, Metatron. Last question, and I would love for you. Here's a quote from Shakespeare. You may have heard of it. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. I'd love for you to explain the truth to that, and what do you, and if so, specifically, is the whole world a stage? Are we all just playing these roles here? And does that connect to the past question as well of coming here from a higher evolved reality and choosing to be the darkness, choosing to play that role?
Yes, there are two answers for one question. The first answer is yes. As souls, all beings who are fractals who enter a human body are taking on a role for that lifetime. But the other answer is no. You are a soul that also has free will, that has chose to play a role, but now the training wheels are off and you can go in any direction that you want. There is a dangerous association with humans who believe I am only a soul playing a part, therefore it doesn't matter what I do on this earth. Therefore, it doesn't matter if I participate in being a human. It's very important to be a human while you are here. Taking your part seriously is important. The soul did not want you to come here simply to not do the part you're supposed to be. And if you don't do that part, after you reintegrate, after your death and reintegrate back into that higher perspective, you may say, well, I messed that one up. I'm going to do it again. And many humans that we have communicated with, that we feel, that we have connected with, feel in their body they don't want to come to Earth again. It's too much for them. But when they reintegrate to their soul, they understand the purpose, they understand the reasoning. So we would say, yes, you are playing a role, but make sure you actively participate in playing that role, even if you don't want to be the evil when you get here or the good when you get here. Still participate in being a human. We find that by not participating with being a human, you lose some empathy and sympathy for others. You say, oh, the children who died in that war, it doesn't affect me because we're all just souls. But the fact is, those playing that role have gone through trauma. Those who lose their loved ones have gone through trauma. Those who experience the difficulties of being on Earth are still going through trauma. So be open and empathetic towards their experience, as hopefully you will embrace yours.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Metatron. And as you close out and bring Rob back, if you can do an invocation or a blessing just for humanity, or just share some sort of inspiration as we're moving forward in these times.
Yes, step forward into your own center of consciousness, that 0 point energy and recognition of who you are, as the 0 point energy is the most you of you, and the recognition of that comes only in the satisfaction of who you are. We are Metatron, and salutations. All right, brother.
Amazing, brother. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah, nice to see your face too, brother.
Yeah, you too, man. Yeah, so powerful, so powerful. When you come back, do you remember what was shared?
No, I my channeling has changed a lot in the last year and a half. It used to take me 15 minutes to get into channel state. Now it only takes me a minute. Wendy Kennedy helped me with
Oof.
that, an event we did, but
Yeah.
it's still the same. No memory, just black.
Man, thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate you so much. We've been in this long journey together, and I haven't seen you channel in a long time, and just what came through to you today was truly beautiful. And I recommend you watch it back.
I'm going to. I'm definitely going
A
to.
lot of wisdom came through,
Good. Good.
Mhm.
I always love Metatron, and thank you for having me here, brother. I appreciate it. And thank you for being a part of my life and being a part
Yeah,
of our events and stuff too. It really
me too, man. I feel the
means
same
the
way.
world.
I have so much love for you, brother. And I just want to let everybody know again, the channel panel, Rob's as you know, has been doing this work for a while. It's done a few online channel panels, a couple in person. And the last one was like, what, 8 years ago? Something like that?
2017 was the last live one we did. Yeah.
Yeah. So bringing together some of the most epic channelers in the world in one place, and it literally is a channel panel. So not only is the frequency so high and all these individuals connecting to these beings that are coming in and speaking, but it's also just going to be in a beautiful place in Sedona. So if you guys are able to join us, the website is thechannelpanel.com, and you can tune in through live stream. You can come in person, but I'm really excited, and it's a beautiful way to start the year too. It's perfect energy for the new year, and I believe the theme is the dawn of disclosure. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be
Ready for it.
amazing, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I love you. Give Kalina a big hug for me too, and we'll
I
talk
will.
soon.
All right,
All right,
brother. I
buddy.
love you too. Have a good one, guys.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.